Hello and welcome to Property Mastermind podcast episode 176. This week we are talking what are the best practices for property development, and Bob and I are going to unpack organisation and how you can maximise your organisation so you become a very successful, profitable and happy property developer. So let's jump on into episode 176. Hey, welcome to episode 176. We are talking best practices, and really, when I say best practices this week, we're talking about organisation when it comes to property development and the impact that being really organised in certain areas and how you can become organised will really impact your property development. But before we get started, Bob, hello.
G'day.
Sometimes it's like this. We actually, did we even see each other earlier today?
Briefly.
We did. Hard to believe we sit next to each other or in the same office sometimes, isn't it?
Oh, no, it's head down and away we go, eh?
Well,
Live in our world.
We've got a bit going on right now, and we're getting organised for a few things. First thing is the free property development. Oh, I can't remember what it's called.
That's a blueprint.
Blueprint, yes. We're doing the blueprint on Thursday at lunchtime.
Yep.
So that goes for 45 minutes. So there'll be a link below if you want to jump on that. And I saw you working on that earlier, actually.
I am, yeah. Just checking all my timing.
Yep.
You know what I'm like.
Yeah, I do.
45 minutes. Got to be 45 minutes, or at least no more.
So classic. That is Bob being organised for presenting. Perfect. And then we're heading off to WA to check out a property development that I did over there that I haven't seen yet. So that's looking like a journey I'm excited for.
Yep.
And we're going to catch up with some mentoring students over there, which will be cool. And we're thinking about having a meetup. Just a group thing. Yeah. Anyone can come if you live in WA. So believe it or not, today is Tuesday the 19th of November. It'll be next Friday, so not this Friday
29th.
coming. It'll be the 29th of November. We need to do some organising. And It's just low-key. If you want to come along, we'll put it out in an email. We will put it on our Property Mastermind page. Just let us know if you're coming, because it could be 5 people, 10 people, 50 people, and if it's going to be more than that, we need to kind of just get a bit of a handle. Anyway, I felt like that's all my bits out of the way. Bob, before we get started, the usual. Oh, here he goes.
Oh, well.
What would your tip be for the week?
When the weather says it's going to rain and the clouds look a bit dark and you're heading out, like I did.
Yeah.
Take an umbrella.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't, and paid the penalty.
When was this?
This was this morning.
Later
on this morning.
Okay.
Yeah, I always forget to take an umbrella, so I strutted off thinking, not too far to go, and got to somewhere where we had a meeting, and guess what?
You got wet.
Got wet coming home. Home with a wet sail.
Could we say, Bob, that you perhaps weren't organised?
Oh, no. Well, yes.
Well, while we're on that, we don't have a book winner this week because I didn't get that organised. So there won't be a book winner going out. If you'd like to win the book, The Property Millionaires Exposed, reach out, let me know. But I didn't actually follow up on that, so I was a little disorganised. But that's why we're on organisation. But today we're talking about organisation as a best practice for being a successful property developer, making life easy, enjoying the process, all of those things that make it better. So I sort of look at organisation and property development very much like the foundations of a property. When you're organised, you have good foundations. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. It's chaotic otherwise.
Yes, which is the opposite, which would be like a needle in a haystack. You just can't find things. The wind gets hold of the hay and it just gets messy, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm right behind you there.
Yeah.
As you just said before, I was organised. I'm getting organised for Thursday, so bingo, I'll be right on time.
You are.
Building good foundations.
You do though, Bob, but I'd have to say when it comes to your property development habits, you are very organised, and I think we'll unpack those as we go through today because we've briefly discussed them. But let's look at what the impact of organisation is on your life as a whole. And I mean, if we look at the ripple effect of people being organised, what are your thoughts there? Just in general, I'm thinking of people that are successful in their life and can carry that forward. We did the interview with Gary Martini, an organised man, went through the mentoring program, has been very successful through property development. But many of our people have been. But you've worked with more people than I have, having done this for longer. Do you notice anything with the organised people?
Organised people have an uncluttered mind.
Yep.
I think, because they have an uncluttered environment.
Yep.
When I say environment, I mean, I'm talking about a lot of things, hey. I'm talking about something as simple as your desk, where you do business, maybe even your property, your house. And I think if you're organised, you're uncluttered, your mind is uncluttered, and you think more clearly. At least that's how it works with me.
Bob, that's how it works with everybody.
Is it?
Yeah, when you have disorganisation, well, that's saying how you do anything is how you do everything. And when you know disorganised people, and so do I, and how chaotic is the communications with them or just dealing with them. And that's within property development and outside of property development. We all know people that are disorganised. But
they can never find anything.
no, and not just that. If we look at organisation as a whole, as in how you look at let's look at the ripple effect. It's like if you're organised in one area and you drop it, the ripple that flows out. And that sort of, for me, you look at people that are excellent. I did that interview with Richard Thompson, the lawyer, a while ago. He's got a great podcast, interviews plenty of people. I think it's HX Happiness. And he's just an incredibly organised person, a very successful businessman. He's ultramarathon world number 1 2 or 3 times.
No, his training regime would have to be seriously organised.
For sure.
He probably plans his whole training year.
Yeah, and then just opened a new lawyer firm, and boom, it's just booming. He does a lot of property law as well. He's an incredibly busy man, and yet because he's organised, he's able to accomplish things, and I think that's the key.
Well, you saw that on your podcast where he interviewed you.
Yep.
For example.
Yes, for sure.
I remember you telling me how organised everything was.
Yeah, and I felt safe in his hands, which we're going to get to actually. The safety you feel when you are organised yourself, and when you're with organised people, there is that feeling of safety. So there is the ripple effect. So some of the things that happen when we are organised is it's time saving, isn't it, Bob?
Oh yeah, because property development, it's not like it takes a huge amount of hours to do property development, but what you want to do is make really good use of your time, and that means, well, a big part of it is being organised. It's even down to things like filing, like how micro do you want to go, but it's all part of being organised. I have to be like that.
Oh, explain your filing system, because before we go there, just remember Bob's working with 20 mentoring people, so he's got their deals, we've got our deals, we've got a couple of industrial developments going on, we've just finished off a duplex, we've got a few other things happening, the retirement village. Bob's got a lot happening, so how do you organise your inbox?
Well, yeah, just for my inbox alone. So I've got 4 different accounts.
Email accounts?
Email accounts, yeah. So one's purely a mentoring account.
Yep.
So that's where we deal with people in our mentoring program. Every single mentee has their own folder, and within their folder, we allocate headings for their projects, particularly once they get onto a deal. So it'll be, site feasibility, due diligence.
These are all separate folders under their name.
Subfolders under there. And because they're talking to you sometimes, Aaron sometimes, me sometimes, all of our emails go into their folder. So I can immediately be talking to somebody today and pick up where, say, Aaron left off yesterday, if it happened to be like that,
Because you're organised.
Because I'm organised. But, within my own projects, within the projects that we do, first of all, in my email account, I have the project, and then I break that down, things like acquisition, legal, finance, I've got probably 15 subfolders for each project, and that's where all my emails go. But then on the cloud, I also have a folder for projects, and with a complete breakdown. But it's mainly the documents, the contracts and legal documents, a whole heap of things like that. That's on the cloud. So I have to, and then that way I can go straight to something.
And it saves you time, and
Yeah.
it saves chaos, and it just makes life easy when you are organised. So when you do that, Bob, how does it make you feel? Or was there a time before you became organised in property development that you didn't do that?
I got better at it.
Yeah.
I'd have to say that. But now, let's say I want to look at an IM on a project that we're halfway through, an information memorandum. Okay, I can go straight back to that. It's probably under the project heading, under capital raising would be a subfolder. Subfolder under capital raising would be information memorandum. And I can go bing, 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 I don't know, 20 seconds, I'm there, I've got the document.
I do the same with investors because of the investor conversations that I have. Like under investments, where they've come in for whichever investment they're coming in for, subfolder, the people go in there. But on top of that, I also create a spreadsheet.
Yep.
So it says what I've spoken to them about. They might say, yep, I'm keen to put in, I've got 100, 200, 500, 300,000, whatever their number is. It's not ready now, or it's ready, it's cash, or it's super, or I'm setting something up, whatever. I have that information written down just so I'm organised, because my brain wouldn't retain it all. And then I just know, well, it makes my life faster, should I, or when I'm ready to follow up. But even then, once an investment starts, like we've got a few industrials underway, I've emailed them information. I tick it off, actually. I print it out and tick it off manually, because that takes probably up to 6 weeks to organise, it can do. And then they've sent their paperwork back, I've sent their units back, they've deposited the money. Like, all of that stuff is well organised, because the minute I drop that ball, it would be chaotic.
Yeah. I'll tell you something else that you do. Your phone numbers, like your, I don't know, Teledex, whatever you want to call the thing on your phone.
Phone numbers, yeah.
There's probably 2,000 people in there.
I mean, more than.
More than?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm not like that. But what happens is, quite often you might get a phone call and it'll pop up, it'll be their name, and it's somebody you spoke to a year ago.
Yep.
But not only that, so two things can happen there. You've got an excellent memory, and sometimes I know that person, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, like whatever it is. Or alternatively, while you just started talking to them, you bring up your spreadsheet and you know the last conversation or where it was left off.
Yeah.
And that's quite incredible.
I save, the minute I've spoken to somebody, I save their number, because I end up having conversations. Somebody might want to join our mentoring program, and then they put it off, which they shouldn't, but they do. And then if they come back 6 months later, I can know that I've already spoken to them. There have been there's probably been a couple of people that say, oh no, I've never spoken to you, and I've got like 10 texts from them or something. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever you want to believe. But yeah, that is a form of organisation that I like. And it works for you too, because you don't always save numbers, and then I can send you people's numbers really
You take
easily.
a lot more phone calls than I do.
For sure.
But I know where to go if I want a number.
Yeah, me.
Quick, Hilary,
Oh,
send me their number.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
you've got a good memory for like people and what they're doing and what they're saying. Like, sometimes we walked into a room, there could be 200 people in there, could be a workshop, could be anything, and someone will come walking over. I was thinking, oh, I know that face. What's going on? You say da 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 da, and you immediately give me a quick, break. Ah, yes, of course.
Like House of Cards. Remember when on House of Cards, and they have the people, someone walks behind the president and they're saying, they're this and they're that. Yeah, I have that memory for stories. I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Comes in handy.
That's just a habit. But the next thing that being organised helps with, Bob, is for clarity. Because it reduces our stress. And you know yourself, if you're listening now and you're thinking, there's an area of my life that isn't that organised, it's quite stressful when you need to, like, find a phone number or remember information. It becomes too stressful. And the minute we're stressed, our prefrontal cortex shuts down and we become very
you can't think straight.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's actually what happens when your prefrontal cortex shuts down.
It happens to me occasionally.
Yeah.
Oh, it's only a minor thing. But just going back to what we just talked about, let's say I'm supposed to ring somebody at midday. And I think, okay, like a minute two, I haven't got their phone number.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, Hilary, quick text. Hilary, quick, send me this phone number. And all these things going through my head. Or maybe you're on another call, right? And I can't get that phone number straight away. And then your mind starts racing and, I'm going to be late. I'm going to be a couple of minutes late. And
it's stressful.
It's a mini stress.
Yeah.
But it all comes from, maybe 5 minutes before the phone call, I should have checked that I do have their phone number, or maybe half an hour before. Not wait till a minute before sometimes, like I do.
Yeah.
Like it suddenly pops up, I've got to ring this person in a minute. Because that's what I do. With the phone calls I have to make, because I have set phone calls where people book in with me, say in the mentoring program.
Students, yeah.
Mentoring students book in, they want to talk to me. And so, at different times, they book into my calendar. So although I do get a calendar reminder 10 minutes before, it's often like pretty quiet, or you could miss it, or you could be, 5 metres away from your phone, you don't pick it up. I set an alarm. So I go to my alarms and I set it, like if it's a phone call, I set my alarm 1 or 2 minutes before the phone call. And so I won't miss that, because you know what the alarm's like when it goes off, and you can't miss it. And I might have, 3 or 5 or 8 phone calls. At the beginning of the day, look at my diary and I set the alarms. It might be a bit weird, the alarm goes off and, Bob's alarm's going off. Well, yeah, that's so I don't miss that phone call.
It's a system that you implement, and we're going to get to systems and how they work for us.
Okay.
But it also helps with our confidence, and not so much at Bob's level as a property developer, but for you, maybe as a newer developer or wanting to get into it, the more organised you are, the more confident that you will feel when it comes to property development. And that's that whole brain clutter, brain going, oh my goodness, I'm not organised, and then you just start lacking confidence, because one of the definitions of confidence is the ability for you to follow through on what you say you're going to do. And you need to do that without anxiety and without stress. So the sort of more organised you come around property development, as in knowing what you need to know, doing your research, filing the paperwork, talking to the right people, keeping that information, everything that goes along with property development will make you feel more confident. And what that does is the next thing, it helps with creating momentum. And Bob, how important is momentum when we're talking property development?
Oh, it is. With property development, we're always thinking ahead, what's coming, not just immediately next, but a couple of steps ahead. Because, sometimes in property development, we wear a number of hats at the same time. We might be getting a development permit, so we're dealing with consultants. We're also starting to talk to the builder. We're talking about construction and pricing. And we're talking to a financier perhaps, because we're moving into the construction phase. We have to reorganise our finance. So we wear many hats at different times. And it's just so important to maintain momentum and every day to be going forward. And having a, confidence and a clear mind helps us do that.
Do you know what I see is when people have done a development and they've got that momentum because they have set a whole lot of practices in place, meaning that the time that they look for sites and then, getting organised, and as in getting organised around your finance and everything that goes with doing a property development, getting it set up. And then there's that lull time. And I find that people lose momentum then, would you say?
Yeah.
And they start lacking confidence because they forget the best practices that they used to do.
Yeah, exactly. I tell you, I'm going to call out a couple of our mentoring students at the moment. Marina and Paula.
Yes.
I've got some more emails today from Marina. She is on fire. It's the first project.
Is she?
Duplex. Man, she is flying. She's got serious momentum.
Oh, great.
I wouldn't want to stand
hear.
in front of her. I'd just straight over the top.
Yeah.
Like a railway.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And she's like that, isn't she? Like you think of her nature, like she's go, go, go.
High energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she's got momentum.
She's got momentum on that project, her first project. And I'm sort of just keeping up with her.
How good's that? Oh, you know what I love about that, Bob, is that if I'm going to have to tag her in to make sure she does listen to this episode. Hey, Paula and Marina. But if she maintains that momentum, there's no reason she can't get a next development underway. Because this is a really good time for that to happen while she's got that momentum.
Yeah.
As things start tidying up on the one that she has, before you get to that lull, because I do see that happen. People are fired up, they're all good, their development gets underway, and then they drop the ball and forget how they were working. They might just enjoy that relaxed time, do you think?
Yeah.
I love it then.
Yep.
Okay. Then the next thing that happens is with that ripple effect is we also, along with the momentum, people start trusting us. People start feeling confident around us. So, if Bob and I came onto this podcast and we were a shambles and, hardly not dressed well and just not...
I saw a podcast like that recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't give the person's name away. It wouldn't be fair. Well, it was a podcast I came on.
You went on to watch?
It was an education type podcast.
I know one.
And
It was actually a webinar thing.
Or was it a webinar?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was a webinar.
Yeah,
sorry.
and they were disorganised.
Oh, yeah. It was, the slides wouldn't come up and the slides couldn't be shown, and then they lost this, then they lost that,
How did you feel afterwards? Did you think,
5 minutes in,
show?
I was cringing. I actually felt really sorry for them.
Because we do that as an industry.
Well,
we understand,
yeah.
like running live webinars when
Yeah.
you've got a few hundred people on.
I did a live one in front of a big audience once, and I had terrible problems with my laptop, which affected everything. So I understand it. It's like you just want to sink through the floor. But they were having one problem after another with this webinar, and I don't think they just tested it well enough prior.
I don't think they'd done it before, perhaps.
No, it was their first one.
Yeah, and that's
Of this particular type, anyway.
Yeah. So when you are confident, people respect you, people trust you. So if you're a property developer communicating with town planners or architects or any professional, you will be more professional because you'll be organised. So being organised just has such a massive ripple effect. So Bob, I'm going to run through the areas of our life that I've got a wee list here that impact us. So there's more than one. So we're talking about property development, but remember at the start we talked about Richard Thompson and that ripple effect.
Yeah.
And even you and I, look at the things we accomplish. Right now I'm writing another book.
You've been getting up at 4:30 lately, I've noticed.
Yeah, because I'm being organised right now and wanting to accomplish a few things, but it's just maintaining that momentum, all of the things we're talking about to achieve the thing that you want to get. And so as well as doing property development, for me, just setting and achieving is important.
Yep.
But for all of us, setting and achieving something is important. So here's some areas that I run through, and I want you to have a think. Give yourself a rating out of 10 of how you are organised. So if you're least organised, give yourself a 1. If you're totally organised, give yourself a 10. Otherwise, give yourself a number in between. And the benefit of doing that is when we give something a number, our brain can understand how we feel about it. So if we give it a number under 5, we're more than likely going to think, oh, I could do better. And if we go over 5, depending on our life and how busy we are, we might go, oh, I'm okay with that. Or we might go, oh, it needs work. But it's really good for our brain to number things because and this isn't mine, this is neuroscience information, that it gives us something to reference to. Okay, so I'll rip through these, but I want you to think, out of 10, what are your thoughts? Okay, your property development journey. So you could be listening to this because you're keen on property development or you're actually doing one. Give yourself a number out of 10 on how organised you are. The next one is your environment, your physical space. What is it like, your desk or your home, or both? Give yourself a number. And then your time management. How organised are you with time management? Do you want to answer some of these, Paul? No.
Oh, I don't want to interrupt you.
Okay.
But I could come back to you.
Okay. The next one is your health and fitness. If I'm honest, I've probably dropped the ball there a little bit lately. So
only by your standards.
I'm giving myself
You have very high personal standards today.
A solid 5 is all I'm getting today. Finances, how do you rate your organisation with finances? Doesn't mean, it's not goal setting as in I'm rich. It's like, how are you organised around it? Do you have a plan? Are you working towards something? Your career and business, give yourself a number, your level of organisation there. Your relationships, what's your level of organisation there?
Oh, yeah.
Your personal development, your hobbies and recreation.
Oh, yeah.
Your digital life, that's the people that have got disorganised laptops. And then your mindset and well-being. Okay, just have a wee think. And it's really useful to check in because how you do anything is how you do everything. Or how you do everything is how you do anything. Either way, both make sense to me.
Yep.
Meaning when you start tidying up areas of your life, you start tidying up areas of your life. All of them. There is that ripple effect.
I was just about to say that ripple effect. You keep talking about it. It transfers into other areas.
Okay, so let's talk now then about the core principles, Bob, that do help with organisation.
Tell me about them.
Yeah, I feel like this is such a me topic this week.
Well, it is a your topic.
Yeah, because I feel it's something that I'm passionate about. And okay, the first one is create systems, and you already talked about that with your emailing system. But Bob, unpack for people listening how you run, like your FISOs and your timelines and such. What's your organisation process for that sort of thing?
On a project basis, well, we look at a lot of projects, and most of them end up in the bin. And but I have a very big folder full of feasibilities, and of all types. I tend to keep them.
You keep the bad ones as well.
Some of them, yeah. If only to show people what a bad one looks like.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're deals that people have actually put up in the mentoring program as well.
Yep.
And so I like to keep a copy of those to refer back to. But projects that advance, whether they're ones we're working on with mentoring students or our own projects, as I said, I've got complete folders. I have folders for emails broken down into many subfolders.
Yep.
Like the Retirement Village subfolder, I'm not joking, would have probably 30 folders because it's a big project.
Yep.
It's a $50, $60 million project. There's lots of moving parts to it. But even a duplex, there's probably 12 subfolders.
Yep.
In that. One is for emails in the email account. The other one is on the cloud.
Yep.
And that's what I want. I mean, I just feel good knowing that it's all organised and that I can go to anything quickly because I'm not wasting time.
Another
goes back to time management too.
Yeah, well, exactly. I've asked about timelines there, but another thing I was thinking, Bob, is when we have people looking for sites, I would recommend anyone just creating a spreadsheet of the sites you've looked at because you'll start remembering them, what areas, what things were selling for, rather than just having bits of loose paper all over your desk. Run a spreadsheet, get rid of the paper. You can still keep it, have it written in a book, whatever, but you need to have it collated somewhere. And so, creating systems for everything you do is number one, isn't it?
Yep.
What about the next thing for becoming very organised is just prioritise ruthlessly. And you are so good at this.
Yeah, well, you have to because there's too many distractions. There's too many potential distractions and interruptions. And I have bursts of concentration.
Yeah.
Because I can't concentrate like
all day.
All day.
No one can.
No one can. No, that's why I go for a walk in the rain. But I like to give something a good burst of concentrated effort for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And just sort of come back a bit. We had that little concentration, little conversation about concentration yesterday.
Harder than you think.
Remember we were talking about cricket players? And we're talking about, somebody's out in the middle there. They could be there for many hours scoring a century. Let's say they get that far and score a century.
That's right. Well, how did that...
Well, how do they concentrate for 5 hours or whatever it took them to score a century? Well, they concentrate. When the bowler turns to come in, they're full concentration. They follow the bowler in. They follow the ball out of the bowler's hand. They follow it onto their bat. They play, they connect, they miss, whatever.
Yeah. And then they switch off.
And then that's it. Then they can switch off until that happens again.
I know how that came up. We were talking about golf.
Oh, yeah.
That's right, because I play golf and the concentration required. But you're right. So it's just prioritising, what...
It's quality work and concentration. Yeah, is that organisational?
Yeah, it is, because you actually organise quite ruthlessly, and that's what I've put. You actually organise, I'm actually going to sit down and watch a fishing channel right now. Like you say it out loud, you do that one thing, I've done that, now I'm going to go and do something else. So that's something that you do on a very regular basis. So I think that's...
Allocation.
Yeah, allocation, and that's organisation. So you're very good at that whole prioritising. So as a property developer, you need to prioritise because you have a lot of downtime and you don't want to get caught. Like imagine the personality profile, the clown personality who loves fun is very easily distracted and then will forget to come back to what's important and just kind of lose.
Yeah, probably related to that is I like to finish one thing at a time, for better or for worse. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but I can't have too many things going on at the same time, maybe a couple, like uncompleted things.
Yeah, like open loops.
Yeah. Like if you look at my laptop, I don't have all sorts of windows open across. I tend to try and finish something and then move on. Although obviously there's interruptions and then you're off doing something else. I try and get back to it. So ideally not to tops 3 things. And maybe I think my mind works better that way. Some people can do like a whole heap of things at the same time, running around from one to another. It just doesn't suit me.
They actually can't.
Can't they?
Not really. You're actually a little bit more ineffective, and I'm putting my hand up as being that person. But anyway, that's something I have to work on. The next thing, Bob, is decluttering. It's really important to to maintain organisation and grow organisation, your organisation skills by decluttering, and then whether that's your space, whether that's your mind, whether that's your desktop, all the things, whether that's your life. And sometimes that might mean the people that are in your world. Sometimes you've got to declutter your peer group, your friends.
Yeah.
Decluttering. If you want to be, if you're serious about success and you're around people that are stopping you, or they're not elevating you, or they're not supporting you, or anything, your space isn't conducive to that of a successful person, then you've got to declutter it.
Yeah. That can be a big thing.
Have you ever worked with anyone who's been distracted a lot by, I don't know, other things? Or you're going to say my desktop, aren't you?
Oh, you got a busy desktop, I'd say that.
You mean my actual physical desktop?
Your physical desktop, yeah. It's a busy desk.
He means messy.
Yeah, I think you like to fill your desk. Even if you had a bigger desk, you'd probably fill it.
Yeah, my goal is to get it cleaned up.
Yeah.
I think it's better than it used to be.
Yeah. Remembering your role covers many things.
Yeah, I don't just go to work and do one thing.
No. But I like a relatively clean desk. It just helps me think better, which is probably why I like to do one, tops two things at a time, get them done and then move on. I think it's all part of that, sort of just the way I think.
I like
for better or for worse.
I like a relatively clean desk too, but where do I put the stuff that I've got?
Yeah.
I don't know where to put it. It's not, okay, let's put things, it's not horrific.
No.
It has been. I've gotten a lot better. But yeah, I probably could look at decluttering, because that is a principle for organisation. But to be fair, I never lose anything, do I? I know where everything is.
Oh, no, you know where everything is.
I'm the master of anything. You want to know where that is? I've got it. In fact, it happened this morning. Someone said, where's that piece of that pricing list? And I said, I've got it. I've got one.
Yeah, you do know where everything is.
Yeah.
Remember, I put the car in for a service, and there's no logbooks in the car for them to write up. And I said to you, oh my God, where the logbooks disappeared to? And
I knew exactly where they were.
You knew exactly where they were. I would never have found them. I
On
don't even know how they got from the glove box to there.
I don't know either, but I'd seen them.
But you know where everything is, that's for sure.
Okay, another one of the core principles, and we've covered this really, is leverage technology. And whether that is just with your inbox or your filing system or your Google Drive, or it's Monday.com or Trello or the Property Mastermind feasibility calculator, whatever it is, or however it is that you can leverage technology, it's important that you do, because it will help you become more organised.
Yeah, I know, and you're looking at me there.
Yeah.
Technology...
No, you're pretty good.
I mean, I love it and I agree with it. Obviously, in our office, I'm the lowest skilled in terms of technology. I know what I need, and I'm pretty good at using what I need.
Yeah, you're not good at changing to the stuff that we all use.
No. Why should I?
Then we would all be using the same thing, maybe. But anyway,
we just know Bob uses that. Just because I use a stone tablet and a chisel, to write stuff, don't pick on me.
I know we're using laptops now, Bob.
What are they?
No, but there are lots of things that help with organisation, and it's important. But also not just for the sake of having them as well. Like, you don't have to have everything. And sometimes people want me to use something. I'm like, no, I've got my own system and I'm good with it. And I suppose you're a bit the same.
But there's such a choice anyway. The bottom line is, isn't it? There's almost an oversupply of technology that can help us be organised.
Yep. So just pick them and use them wisely. But do use them.
Yep.
And then probably the biggest one is just really build on your habits. So when I went through and asked you to give those areas of your life a number, starting with property development, how you feel organised or not, have a look at the ones that have the lower number and just have a think to yourself, that sort of is an under 5, and I need to build some better habits around that. So your takeaway from this podcast is to really look at the areas that are slowing down your property development and think, how can I move forward in a way that's going to get me to where I want to go?
Yeah.
And so that's going to sort of start with you being more organised around that area, and then just think, what is one thing I could do that would make me more organised, and do that thing. And then, you know what? Once you've done that thing, do it again. And when you've done that, do it again and do it again. And it might mean let's go 1%. It's 14 minutes a day. It's 1% of the day. What if for 1% of your day, you could spend some time being organised, whether that was researching a technology or filing stuff that you need to, or decluttering your desk, Hilary, or whatever the other core principles we had, creating systems or prioritising ruthlessly. Have a think about which of those, 1, 2 or 3, that you could spend 14 minutes a day on, that 1%, and just think over time as that compounds, the difference that you're going to make on your property development journey. Whether it could even mean just the time you spend going through the online course that we have and moving forward, so you create the lifestyle that you want yourself, using property development as the vehicle. What are your thoughts?
I love driving that vehicle.
I love it. So I've got my last statement is build an organised mindset, because organisation is a skill, not a talent. It can be learned, practiced and perfected. It's like a muscle. None of us was born with organisational skills. To be fair, if our parents were organised in a certain way, we would probably be organised in a certain way because we watched that as children growing up, potentially. But If you want to be organised in a certain area of your life, just become organised in that area of your life by committing to it. So that's organisation as a tool for property development, as a best practice for success in any area of your life. Bob, anything you want to finish with there?
Oh, geez, you've covered it.
I know it's kind of been a soft topic, which is my favourite.
No, well, organisation is just critical, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're not, it's chaos.
Well, actually,
it's in varying degrees.
We had a development that we pulled out of.
We did not all that long ago. Yeah.
Explain that one.
Well, the problem was on the other side. So it was potentially an industrial development where we were purchasing a block of land to do a development on, to build an industrial development, and we were buying it off another developer. So they were doing an industrial land subdivision, and we were contracting to buy a lot. Now, the subdivision had been built, but the title still hadn't issued. So that's where we're up to with it. And we sort of did due diligence initially, and then we signed an option, a put and call option, which obviously we had a back door on while we continued further due diligence. But it became more and more obvious along the way that they were just totally disorganised, and I think really lacked experience. Even though it was an industrial subdivision, it was a group of people that were doing it. I don't think any of them had development experience. They engaged instead of a property lawyer, they engaged a conveyancer, who obviously was quite inexpensive compared to a property lawyer, but didn't have a clue what was going on.
But what did that cost them, Bob? Because you walked away.
Well, it cost them a sale, at least.
Yeah.
And probably more than one.
Yeah.
We'd spent money on that project. We had a survey done. We had some initial architecturals done. And
so that's like 8,000, but we still put our hands in the air and go, they are too disorganised, and we do not. We didn't trust them, did you?
Just one thing after another, and look, without going too far into it, we just didn't want to do business with them, hey?
Yeah.
And we didn't.
So that's sort of just one of the costs of disorganisation.
Yeah. I'd say they've lost a few contracts on that project.
Yep.
And we had a look at the history of it. It had been going on for quite a while, in terms of how long they'd had that property compared with where they were up to. I think it was just a comedy of errors for them. And we didn't want to inherit all their mistakes, so we didn't. We left.
So there you go. That's organisation and how important it is for success in many areas of your life.
Yeah.
Fun episode for me this week.
Yeah.
I hope that you got something out of that, and I hope you're inspired to take some action, to do a bit of a 1%er, allocate 14 minutes of your day to improve your organisation skills in one of the areas of your life that will make a huge difference, because remember, there is a ripple effect. So on that note, by the time this comes out, if you live in WA, next Friday,
29th.
The 29th, we will be having an event. So look on Property Mastermind Facebook page and see where we're at. Anyway, that's it from us.
Okay.
Bye for now.
Catch you next time.
See ya.